We're going to start the first part of total rewards tonight, and we'll do the second part on Wednesday. But we have a special guest. We have Cindy, who just recently passed the exam. And so she's going to give us kind of an overview of how the exam went for her, how that all worked out, then answer any questions that anybody might have about the exam. Cindy, would you like to tell us a little bit about like which exam that you passed? Was it CP or SCP? And then take it from there. Tell us all the details.
Sure. Yeah. So I did the SHRM-CP. So I think I started class about, early February or so. And then our last class ended late April, like maybe the last week of April. So I used Christina's advice and did the 4 Rs. So I would read the module before class. During class, I would listen to Kelly and take notes. And then usually the next day, I would start on the quizzes. So I would do the CP quiz and then the SCP quiz, both of them, until I reached 80%. And then I would do the flashcards. And it was good for me to print out the flashcards and write them in my own words. And then I tried to keep up with the schedule of the class so I didn't feel like I was getting behind at all. So that helped out a lot. I also watched, if you haven't yet, Christina's elimination consideration videos. So that really helped with the situational judgment questions because it helps you look for keywords in those questions and then also ask yourself, in the answers, well, is this active? Is it reasonable? Is it relevant? And even when I was taking the exam, I was playing that in my head to make sure, because usually in the exam, you can right away strike out 2 of the answers. Like, these 2 answers are not correct. And then the other 2, you're usually going back and forth on. And so just using that, is this active? Is it reasonable? Is it relevant? Really helped make choose the right answer.
So thank you. I did just pull up the HR Jetpack page here with the elimination consideration, and it says it's 5+ hours. You obviously didn't watch it all in 5 hours. You probably took it in little chunks, right? And
Yeah.
did some practicing. And for those that don't know Christina's 4 Rs, like, so the first one you said read, the second one,
It's called review, but yeah, it's
review. Okay.
watching the class and taking notes during class. Yeah.
Okay. And what's the third
And
R?
then respond is the quizzes and the flashcards. And then and then repeat. So then you do it for
And
each
repeat.
module. Yeah.
Okay. All right, great.
Yeah. So
And
that really helped.
so did you have any questions that came up that you were like, oh my God, I don't remember this?
Quite a few. Um,
Okay.
So the good thing I did too was at the end of our class, I did the SHRM-CP practice exam on the SHRM learning system.
Oh,
And I
okay.
passed it. I got the 200 and I was shocked. I was just like, but it made you like really confident. You're like, oh, okay, awesome. And then I went and took the HR Jetpack bonus exam and didn't do so hot. So
Okay.
there was a lot of questions that came up and I'm like, I have no idea. And so I just had a little notepad to the side and I was writing down key concepts or things that I just didn't understand. And then at the end, I went through the books and found all of that to help. And then and then about a week before my actual exam, I did the SHRM-SCP practice exam. And I got like a 190. So I was really close passing that, which shocked me as well. But so the practice exams on the SHRM learning system is very similar to the actual exam. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
very, very similar. So you won't be thrown off or shocked or anything when you're actually taking the exam.
So let me ask you, I've heard from someone in my office just recently passed, and she said she was freezing to death in the building. Were you really cold? Should people bring a sweater?
I wore a sweater just in case, but I think that I was so hyped up and nervous that
Okay.
I probably didn't need it. But I could see where some people probably could be cold in there.
Tell us about, was there a break? Like, could you use the restroom?
Yeah, so I was nervous about that. And so I had about 10 minutes left in my section one, and you can leave, the clock doesn't stop. So if you have time at the end, I went back through all my flagged questions because you can flag them. So ones that I just was not like sure about at all. I went back, checked it. I answered them, but went back to make sure that maybe I chose the right answer to me. And then I was able to have about 5 minutes to run to the restroom and come back and then in section one before starting the next section. And honestly, that was great just to get out of there for a minute and take a
Yeah.
breather. You kind of felt a little bit more refreshed when you came back. And then the second section went way smooth. It went pretty smooth. So
So now what about, just for like logistics purposes, when you first got there, did they have a locker for you to put your stuff in? Did they tell you to keep it in the car? Because I know you can't bring a lot of things in there. What was your experience?
yeah, so I decided because I knew it was going to be like that, so I didn't bring anything in at all except my car keys and my ID.
Oh, okay.
And you can bring a bottled water. I did bring a bottled water in, but you have to tear off the label and it has to be clear. So you can't take in, like a tumbler or anything like that. But it's a
Oh,
clear water
okay.
bottle. And so you go in and you sign in, they give you a key. The lockers are right there. You can put whatever you have in the locker and you have to keep the key and your ID with you at all times. And even when you go sit at the desk, there's a little section that says place ID up right here and key here, and you have to have it up the whole time.
Oh, okay. That's good information. I haven't heard that before. So,
Yeah.
I was wondering, would you be willing to take any questions from people in the class?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Does anybody have any questions? You can unmute and ask.
Yeah, I did. Hi, Cindy. This is
Hello.
Radhika here. Yay, you passed, and that's awesome. Thank you for sharing with us. I had a quick question on the timing. Did you
Sure.
feel you had enough time to answer the questions, flag them, go back and do it, or was it rushed?
So the first section, I felt a little rushed because I was just getting used to the process. I think I was probably, so the way it's laid out in a way is you have a bunch of knowledge items first that are very the quick questions. It's just, quick questions, the answers aren't very long. And then it's the longer ones in the middle, the situational judgment items, and then it's more of the knowledge-based questions that are quicker to answer. So I think I was taking a little too much time with those knowledge based in the beginning that when I got to those situational judgments that are very long, I felt a little rush there. So, but I had plenty of time. I think I was just kind of paranoid a little watching the clock. So just pay
Sure.
attention to that and that you're not sitting on those smaller questions too long because when you get to the middle, that's where a lot of that reading comes in. So,
Great.
yeah,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
Other questions?
Hi, yes, my name is Judy. I have a
Hello.
quick question. When you say too long, so do you have like 30 seconds, a minute to answer them or
I would say probably a minute each is
a
probably
minute?
was a good pace. When I got to the second section, I was good at a minute each and just kind of,
Mhm.
and you're going to answer some of the questions quicker and some of them are going to take you a little bit longer. And then just make sure you flag the ones that you're, choose an answer that you think is right and then flag it. And at the end, you'll have at least, a few minutes to go back and check to make sure that you still agree with the answer that you picked.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And there's always a way to do it. I mean, Cindy's experience was like a minute for each one because then she still had time to go back and things like that. I mean, if you didn't go back, you'd have a little more time than that. So there's like 3 hours and 40 minutes, and you can divide that by the number of questions. It's actually over a minute, but you want to maybe set yourself at a pace like that. That's like when we do the quiz questions, I usually give you like 30 seconds to 45 seconds to answer the question. So get into the practice of kind of answering them, obviously as thoughtfully as possible and correctly, but, so you have enough time to kind of go back and that type of thing. Does anybody else have any other questions for Cindy?
Oh, sorry, I had one more. How did you keep track of time? I mean, are you allowed to take a watch, or is there a timer on the screen?
Yeah, so there's a timer at the top that's going the whole time that you're testing. So I don't think you can take a watch or anything in. No electronics at all are allowed. They even check your glasses. If you wear, reading glasses or anything, they check those. But you'll see a timer at the top counting down the whole time.
Perfect.
That's a
Thank
good
you.
question.
Yeah.
All right, great. Well, we really appreciate you coming in, and congrats, and be on the lookout from an email from Christina, because oftentimes she'll want to take this portion of the recording and put it on LinkedIn to kind of share with people and to kind of encourage other people. So thank you so much. You could stay for the class if you'd like, but
I did
you
my
don't have
time.
to. Okay.
It's a big relief just to be able to
Yes,
relax
I
a
can
little.
imagine. I can imagine it is. All right. Well, have a great night, and thank you very much.
All right.
Bye.